Renato Moicano may actually ruin Islam Makhachev's legacy. Okay. All right. So this is the one time in which procrastination has actually worked out in my favor. I was supposed to do a breakdown and predictions video for this entire card, especially with Arman and Islam. Never got around to it, but because I didn't actually get to it, I didn't waste my time essentially talking about that fight. So, real quick, because I'll be posting this on the day of the fight. I don't know because people like to say people lie. So it's 2:53, the 18th. Can I get this to focus? I guess not. But if you can kind of see blurrily enough, is that even a word? Yeah, 2:53, January 18th. So we're a few hours away from the fight between Renato and Islam. Jeez, I'm not cutting that out. But I've done some extensive research and film study for this fight. In fact, I literally got my notes right here. In fact, I'm going to share some of my, high breakdown notes here real quick. This is some pretty high level MMA analysis. And so let's talk about the fight real quick and what this means for both guys. So for Islam, this is honestly really unfortunate for his legacy, right? And people are thinking, how is Renato Moicano going to ruin Islam's legacy? Most people are not giving Renato Moicano a chance in this fight. I am actually. But the reason why this fight is going to ruin Islam's legacy is for this main reason. There is this weird narrative. Now, I don't want to say it's weird because I kind of get where it's coming from, but it's low-key not consistent with how it's applied. The narrative is Islam Makhachev's legacy, at least his title run, is just straight up featherweights or former featherweights, I guess, because not literally. Obviously you have Volkanovski twice, who's moving up from featherweight up to lightweight. Obviously there was a featherweight champ at the time. Dustin Poirier, former featherweights. Charles Oliveira, former featherweights. Why am I blanking out right now? Who is the other? Dan Hooker was a former featherweight. And it's kind of the narrative going around him, which if you really think about it for more than 2 seconds, who are Khabib's two best wins though? Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, who are also former featherweights. But, as I digress, getting Renato Moicano, who is another former featherweight. But then on top of this, right, with the short notice nature of it, even though Renato was training for a fight, not a 5-round fight, but still, was ready to fight, nonetheless, not against Islam, but Beneil Dariush, which is a huge step. Well, he was already getting a huge step up in competition against Beneil, but now against Islam, very, very crazy. But Islam Makhachev, if he does not make this fight look easy, and I mean easy money, no pun intended. No, definitely pun intended, not going to lie to you. I definitely meant to say that. If Islam Makhachev does not basically in some ways replicate the Volkanovski 2 performance, his legacy's cooked. Now, I'm not going to say his legacy. Me personally, I have respect for Islam for what he's done in his career, but let's be honest, guys. His title run has not been peaches and cream. Is that how the saying goes? I think that's how it goes. But the Dustin Poirier fight wasn't the smoothest performance. Didn't look as clean compared to what Khabib did to Dustin. Because let's be real, guys. Everything Islam does will be compared to Khabib. Straight up, right? The fight against Volkanovski won. It's not the cleanest fight. Some people thought he lost that fight. I probably wouldn't go that far saying Volk won that fight. But some people thought he lost the fight. That 5th round, it's a bad look. You never really seen Khabib on his back just getting But you never really got that visual, right? The Volkanovski rematch. I mean, again, he had a flawless performance, but people just say, but Volk was on short notice. So what do you do with that, right? It feels as if Islam, outside of the Charles Oliveira title win, just doesn't have that signature win yet for people where they're like, okay, yeah, this dude is undeniably the lightweight GOAT. Now, I know some people were saying going into this Arman fight, if he wins this one, he's a lightweight GOAT. But now he basically got his Ally Quinta moment, but on the back end. Because a lot of people seem to forget that Khabib won the belt against Ally Quinta in similar circumstances, might I add, by the way, because he was supposed to fight Tony, and then you had this whole array of opponents, and there was a whole bunch of shenanigans, and then eventually they settled on Ally Quinta, and that was the fight, right? Islam Makhachev having Renato Moicano as his fight. It's honestly, I would argue Renato Moicano is better. I don't think I have to argue this. Renato Moicano is better than Ally Quinta, But the way it's going to be viewed legacy-wise, it might as well be the same to most people. And if Islam Makhachev goes out there and this fight is competitive, oh boy, this is bad. It is such a bad look. Now, for Renato Moicano, he's got nothing to lose. Now, even though he talks about he can't afford to lose, best believe taking a fight like this on 24 hours notice, he definitely got him some money. And since they're fighting in California, I think the payouts, or at least the disclosed payouts at least, should be released. Yeah, it should be. But so we'll get an insight on what he makes, and we may talk about that in a future video. But right now, we're talking about if Renato Moicano even has a chance against Islam. And does he have a chance? I think so. Guys, right? Styles make fights. And I'm not using that as a way to try to find some weird gaslighting trick into making y'all believe Renato has a chance. Trust me, when I was at work and I got the notification that Renato Moicano was fighting Islam Makhachev, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, this dude's gonna get worked. But then I thought about it some more, right? Renato Moicano, in theory, has some of the traits of what it takes to beat that Dagestani Sambo style. You need 3 qualities, right? First things first. You gotta pressure. You are never, ever, ever gonna beat these guys on the back foot. And Renato Moicano has that ability into pressure. 2, you gotta not be scared of the takedown. Now, is it a good idea for Renato Moicano just to play jiu-jitsu from his back and, try to play guard? No. Am I saying he's as good as this guy right here off of his back? No way. I think Charles obviously is the better jiu-jitsu athlete in terms of MMA and even outside of MMA. But Renato Moicano, though, his jiu-jitsu is like up there, though, like in terms of his grappling ability. And I think at least that freedom to strike without the fear of a takedown, or at least that confidence that if you do get taken down, you're not going to be a fish out of water, is huge against these guys. And last thing, I honestly think you have to be a bit reckless. I feel the problem with a lot of these guys, and I'm not saying this like I can do it, because I know the number one comment going to be like, oh, you go do it then. Listen, I'm not saying I can go do it. But just from, the outside looking in, my belief is if you're going to beat these guys, you got to make the fight a little dirty. It just can't be a clean fight. And especially with how far Islam striking has come, you can't make this a clean fight. But there's 2 openings for Renato Moicano. And we're a few hours from the fight, so maybe this ages well or this age is really bad. But I believe because we're looking at an open stance situation where Renato's orthodox, Islam is southpaw. The inside low kicks for Renato Moicano are going to be money. Renato has to chop up that lead leg of Islam because he's kicking from the inside. He's got to do it. And he's got to stay in Islam's face and just be relentless with the pressure. Renato has sneaky power. He's not explosive or particularly super athletic, but he does have grit. Oh, it's bad when somebody start talking about things like intangibles like grit. But I'm so serious, though. I'm so serious. Listen, right? That whole I can't afford to lose mindset and the fact that at the end of the day, no one's giving him a chance to win for the most part. This is honestly the circumstances in which if Renato Moicano was ever going to be Islam Makhachev, it will be this fight. Now, am I predicting that Renato Moicano is going to go out there and beat Islam Makhachev? No. I don't see anyone at 155 outside of Charles Oliveira beating Islam Makhachev at this moment. But if anyone under these circumstances that we saw right now has the ability to beat Islam Makhachev, it is Renato Moicano. Because again, solid Muay Thai fundamentals, but he doesn't move his head though. He does not move his head as also. He will get hit. It's very hittable, but he's tough. Doesn't have the best chin, but he's tough though. He has heart. Decent Muay Thai fundamentals. Decent takedowns. He's not good at shooting, but he has good trips from the clinch. Could be a tool. It's going to be hard to hit on Islam of all people, but it's a tool. But if this fight hits the ground, he's got a lot of tools. He's got a lot of tools he can use. And really, at the end of the day, for Renato to win this fight, he just needs to make it competitive. Literally, if he makes this fight competitive, his stock rises. Islam is literally in a lose-lose situation right here. Outside of him just flatlining Renato in like the first 5 minutes or so, if this fight is competitive, Islam lost. And it's not fair, but that's just the way it is. Because best believe, I will tell you this right now. If this fight if it's as competitive as the Dustin Islam fight to any degree, oh boy, get ready for how MMA fans are gonna be talking about Islam come Monday. Get ready, bruh. But do I think this fight will be competitive? Yes. I think this will actually, I would argue, this may be Islam's hardest fight of his career. I think he's going to be very tentative. Because one thing about these guys, when it comes to Habib, Umar, Usman, Islam, they're very risk adverse. They don't like to take a whole lot of risks. So I don't think this fight will be as like this one-way traffic as many people would think. And because of the unknowns, this fight will be a lot closer than people will think. Now, am I saying go bet any of your money on Renato Moicano? Shoot, why not? He's like such a big underdog. Should you do it? Probably not. But why not though? But yeah, with that though, fortunately I think Islam, due to the fact that Arman pulled out, he's probably not getting put in lightweight GOAT status just yet. Might need another one. But yeah, that's it though.